I spent 100 days speedrunning Minecraft. See, I did my placement matches for the new season in MCSR Ranked, and they didn't go too well. I've been playing Ranked for about 4 months now, and my PB is 14 minutes and 42 seconds. I decided now is when I want to get better. So I decided to spend 100 Minecraft days in the MCSR practice map just to see if I would get better or worse. I started off day 1 by exploring the practice map to see what I could do. I found a bunch of interesting things that I would practice later, such as structures, search crafting, and portal making. From day 2 to 5, I practiced treasure bastion route, since that's a bastion I struggle the most with. I started out in peaceful so that I could get used to the route. When I got the hang of that, I started practicing with full netherite. This made it so that I could still practice distracting the piglins, but I wouldn't die if they hit me. Finally, I managed to do it with no armor, though I definitely wasn't getting it 100% of the time. After the first few days, I decided I needed a plan, since I had been aimlessly running around doing random things. I wrote out this schedule, which I would loosely follow, though I wasn't really sure what to do for the last 20 days. On day 6 and 7, I practiced bridge bastion routes. I already know how to do DK, but I finally learned right side triple. Both are pretty easy. After that, I practiced my favorite bastion, housing. I learned and practiced manhunt, which I managed to get a hang of pretty quickly. Since I was very confident in those 2 bastions, I returned to the treasure bastion since I had died there in one of my placement matches. I practiced until day 9, getting used to the movement at the start of the route. I still couldn't figure out what to do when there were crossbow piglins, though. Day 9 to 11, I learned double triple and a bunch of triple to gap routes. Double triple is the fastest bastion route in the game, but it can only be used if there are 2 triples next to each other. Triple to gap is when you go from a triple chest at the top all the way down to where the gold is at the bottom. There are a lot of different combinations, so it's a lot to learn. It's good because you can get a lot of piglins, so trading will be faster, but you sometimes take a lot of damage. Stables is really hard, and I kept almost dying when I got confused, so I practiced a bit in creative as well. I kept practicing stables until day 14, when I got bored, set it to random, and practiced all of the bastion types. I then got bored of bastions and decided I wanted to practice something else, so I moved over to portal practice. I learned the 2x1 magma ravine portal, but couldn't quite get the hang of it. This was my first successful attempt, even though it was still a bit slow. I continued to practice magma ravine portals until day 19, and finally got a bit better at the 2x1, even though it's still about the same speed as the L-shaped one for me. I practiced more magma portals and nether portals, then did one of each bastion type until day 23. On day 24, I practiced a few bastions before getting bored and moving on. On day 25, I was starting to go crazy. I ran around exploring and practicing random things until on day 28, I decided to try and learn how to staircase faster since I can only do it while holding shift. I watched a YouTube tutorial and practiced a little bit before giving up. On day 30, I started practicing blaze bedding. I learned how to do one bed on open and closed terrain and two beds, which is the same for both. On open terrain, you have to build this platform so the blazes don't fly away. I also practiced overlapping crafting while waiting for blazes to spawn, which is something that has slowed me down a lot in my runs. Then I learned how to TNT the spawner with 2 or 4 TNT. I finished practicing the fort split, and finally, on day 35, moved on to zero cycling, which I was super excited for. Zero cycling is the best way to kill the ender dragon, and can make the end split less than a minute long. I knew that if I could zero cycle consistently, I would definitely rank up. I practiced some of the easier towers with no dragon to start, and then tried actually zero cycling, using only 6 beds. At first, I could not figure out the timing, and barely even got half of the dragon's health before running out of beds. Eventually, I got a bit more used to it, and even got a few 5-bed zero cycles, which is the best possible without a bow. I kept practicing until I could hit the zero cycles semi-consistently on these towers. Since I've got the timing down, learning the other setups shouldn't be as hard. On day 42, I started learning some more setups, including caged, which for some reason I really suck at. I kept practicing zero cycling until day 45 when I decided to take a break. I moved on to practicing some inventory management and bastions until day 48. On day 50, I started practicing movement. I practiced some staircasing, which I really suck at, and some parkour. I did go on different servers for this, and I kept track of days by leaving my practice map open in the background. To be honest, improving my movement was kind of an excuse to do MCC Island parkour since I love it so much. On day 60, I went back to the practice map and kept practicing zero cycling. I tried some without saturation, which were harder since I could only blow up a few beds and I couldn't pearl clutch or pearl down after. On day 67, I tried to hit 5 zero cycles in a row. I got 3 in a row here, including a pretty ridiculous last bed on one of them. On day 70, I started practicing zero cycles on T94, which is harder than some of the other towers because you have to be much faster. I managed to hit the zero, but realized that I was struggling since I only had 6 beds, and usually on this setup the first bed wasn't very good since it was last second. I decided to try my challenge to hit 5 zero cycles in a row again, but this time I gave myself 7 beds, one more than I had been practicing with, to see if it would be easier. Within like 3 tries, I got it. Funnily enough, most of the zero cycles only needed 6 beds anyways. On the last one, I missed my pearl and still managed to get there in time, which made me realize how much extra time I had. By now, it's probably starting to get repetitive, so I'll skip through some days here. From day 71 to day 75, I kept practicing zeros, especially the T94 one, since it's the hardest for me. On day 75, I tried to learn 1 in 8, which is when the dragon cycles around the middle tower instead of the diagonal one. It wasn't too hard, but I kept forgetting where to build the setup. From day 75 until 80, I kept practicing 0 cycles. On day 80, I found some new features in the map where you can play mini-games for coins. You can apparently use these coins to buy a pet. One of the pets, the most expensive one, is a cat named Spoingus for 500 coins. I decided my goal for the rest of the challenge would be to buy Spoingus. For the next 2 days, I explored the mini-games. There was a building one, a crafting one, and a parkour one. The parkour one seemed like the fastest way to get coins, but the crafting one was probably the best to practice, so I decided to focus on that one. I honestly didn't even know if it was possible to get 500 coins in the 20 days left in this challenge, but I was going to try. By day 90, I had 250 coins, which was exactly halfway to my goal. By day 99, I was frantically trying to earn 500 coins. On day 100, the final day, I went to check if I had enough coins to complete my goal of buying Spoingus the cat. When I checked, I found out I had 527 coins, which meant I could get Spoingus. I immediately bought him and spent the final hours hanging out with him in my pet room. So the real question is, did I improve after 100 days? I haven't got a PB yet, but it does feel like my times have overall been faster and I haven't died in a treasure bastion once since this challenge. Thank you so much for watching and make sure to subscribe. Bye!